Dun, 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 dun. They say it's your birthday. Happy birthday to ya. Happy birthday to you. What's up, babe? Happy birthday.
It is my birthday. I'm so excited. You know what? It's so weird because I think my mom stopped celebrating my birthday after age 11.
Really?
Yeah. And then I met you and I met our friend Kim, and she was really into birthdays.
Yeah.
And then she resuscitated it, and then you've carried it on.
Absolutely. I remember our friend Ron, too.
Yeah.
All the way back in the day when we first met each other in LA.
Yeah.
People in Los Angeles know how to do birthdays.
Oh, I agree. They really do. And I almost wonder if Gen X their birthdays were ixnayed by boomers because no one ever celebrated a boomer's birthday. So boomers didn't really know how to celebrate their kids' birthdays. But being in LA, that did kind of change things because coming from Chicago, it was like, let's go have a drink. In LA, they're like, we're doing this up. Like, we're going dancing. We're going to the hottest restaurant. Like,
and see you at brunch on Sunday.
Get a new outfit. Yeah, exactly.
It's a whole birthday weekend thing.
It is a whole birthday weekend in LA. So we're not in LA. And are you making this a birthday weekend?
Well, we were getting the house ready yesterday. We did whatever you wanted yesterday. So I guess in a way, it's whatever you wanted. Not the exact, not our historic birthday celebration this weekend.
Yeah, but you know what? Phil came in and made me a cocktail.
And that's all it took. A cocktail in a red cup. I love it.
And it makes my birthday that extra special.
Yes, it does.
And I'm going to have a drink right now.
Okay, go ahead.
Because it's my birthday.
And then, you know I'm always up for a little sweet romance.
That's not happening. It's my birthday.
Is it weird when I say that when Phil's sitting like 10 feet away from us?
Absolutely.
What's up, Phil? How are your holidays?
Awkward.
I've noticed we talk about sexy time a lot less now that Phil's around.
We never talked about it really before. No.
I tried to. You always shot it down.
Not going to happen.
Nothing's changed. The only thing she wants for her birthday is to be left alone. So we're going to get this episode started. We went to Greenville, South Carolina. We got a lot coming at you. Let's roll. Happy birthday.
Thank you. No sexy time.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
Hey listeners, ever wonder what it would be like to blow up your comfort zone at the tender age of 50? Well, we did just that. When our last kid went off to college, we hit the road in search of a new hometown. Now we bounce from city to city and bring you along for the ride. This is the Skiptown All-Stars podcast.
What's up, All-Stars? Welcome back to another episode of Skiptown. We are here to remind you, if you're liking the show and the content that you see and find here, please won't you subscribe and like and share and review wherever you are finding us, and make sure you follow us at our social media outlets. We have a Linktree link in the show liner notes below. And with that, we're going to get started. How you doing, birthday girl?
I'm doing great. I stepped on your line because I was so excited to tell you I'm doing great. So it's my birthday. We're recording on my birthday. People have been giving me a hard time about working on my birthday, but I have to say I don't really have a problem with it because I feel like we celebrate each other quite a bit throughout the year. So it's not like my birthday is the one special day, or Mother's Day is that one special day where I get to boss you around. Because I generally do that throughout the year. Yep. So this will be no different. But the difference today is that we walked into work and no one has ever greeted me with a cocktail.
No one's ever greeted you with a cocktail in the office. Cheers, Phil. Well done. Why don't you tell the people, hello, Phil, producer Phil, by the way.
And you have to join us.
What's going on, guys? I have my drink here. It's pretty much gone already, but I wanted to make you something nice, and I didn't know if it should be something super strong or what. So there's some orange juice in there, a little rum chata, and some whipped vanilla vodka. So happy birthday to you.
This is iconic, going down in the history books, walking into work and someone giving me a cocktail. So I am thrilled. Best birthday ever, Phil. Thank you.
Tastes pretty smooth. It's a good recipe.
This is dangerous, like legitimately dangerous. I feel like I'm drinking an Orange Julius. And if you are over the age of 45, you know exactly what that tastes like. I recommend it. Breakfast of Champions.
Phil does not know what that is.
No, what? Who's Julius? And why is he orange?
He just dated me. Terrible birthday moment.
Oh no! You
Listen.
can't take it back.
Hey, Phil, she's so old, she remembers when Chick-fil-A sucked.
That is true. Yeah, I do remember when it was just in the mall and it sucked. Yeah. So you're right. Okay, I can't take it back. I just said it was a terrible birthday moment just for a minute. When we both said it tastes like an orange Julius, and we looked at Phil and he had a blank look on his face. I was like, "Do you not know what that is?" And he said, "No idea." Yeah. You'll find one. I think they're still around in some malls. They're hard to find, but if you happen to come across an orange Julius, you have to taste it, and then you'll know this tastes just like it.
So it's a store?
No,
what?
It's in the food court of
It's like
most
a fast
malls.
food mall place.
Yeah, so they sell.
So it's like a Sbarro?
Similar, yeah.
But it's orange drinks only, and they taste like creamsicles. So the creamsicle ice cream you could get in a beverage, and it was called an orange Julius.
Yeah.
So it's just a beverage place, stand up in a food court mall. Yeah, that's where they used to be.
That's it. And we spent a lot of time on that. So let's get going.
Oh, hon, this
Time
is
to roll.
This is gonna be a good one.
We got a lot of stuff. Okay. First off, I don't know. My show notes you gave me say Greenville, North Carolina. I don't know which Greenville you're talking about, but
yeah.
I went to South Carolina.
I may have had a cocktail last night
you
too.
may.
I started my birthday early last night. Okay.
You did.
Yeah. So Greenville, South Carolina. Sorry.
That's all right. So
They're really close, so it's all the same.
Yeah. So back when we started and first hit the road and sort of announced the podcast and all of our personal social media that we were looking for a new hometown, I have a cousin in Greenville, South Carolina, Lyman specifically, who said right out of the gate, do not sleep on Greenville. What are you doing?
My nose is running. You don't have to do that. My nose was running. The camera wasn't even on me. I saw him. It wasn't even on me.
I switched it to you though. I was like,
Did you?
I wasn't looking.
Because I drew attention to you. What the hell?
Go. My nose is running. Sorry.
Anyway, cousin Doreen was kind enough to tell me to check out Greenville, South Carolina in our travels before we ultimately settled on wherever our hometown was going to be. And I'm not going to bury the lead here, but we have, I have to say right out of the gate, she was right. It was a really impressive city. Why don't you tell me about what your initial impressions were?
Oh, okay. First of all, I expected it to be a 2-block town.
Like
Auburn.
Yes,
because that has been our experience coming up on some of these cities that people say, fantastic, great, you have to visit. And they are, but they're only 2 blocks long, maybe 3 at the most. No. Greenville is blocks and blocks and blocks. And it's not old and modern combined. It is just straight up architecturally defined as charming, vintage. There's a tiny bit of modern, but they blend it so well with the landscape that it doesn't feel like a mishmash, because we have found that to be the case in some cities we visited.
Sure.
It was beautiful. And, right out of the gate, we land in our hotel. So I have to give a shout out to Homewood Suites, which is owned by Hilton. It was right on Main Street. When you said you got it downtown, that's always questionable, because even when you're looking at a hotel, unless you are looking at their map, downtown isn't always downtown. It could be the very, very outskirts of town. No, this Homewood Suites was amazing. It was right across from the baseball field. We walked out the door and we were smack dab in the middle of everything. Highly recommend, the price was great. So if you're going to go visit Greenville, go to Homewood Suites. It was walkable. It was great. I enjoyed it immensely, more than I anticipated.
Agree. The field you're referencing is Fluor Field, F-L-U-O-R Field.
Correct.
It is the home of the Carolina Drive minor league baseball team, who is attached to which Major League Baseball team?
The Red Sox.
The Boston Red Sox, yes.
I know you were thinking I wasn't going to know that.
No, I knew you had seen it. I just didn't know if you were going to remember it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
Well, you weren't there. So if you're there, you kind of know it. But I wouldn't have known that not being there for sure. But I think he thought I didn't remember that it was the Boston Red Sox, but I remembered.
Yeah. They had the insignia. First off, a beautiful park, beautiful view. Our room, going back to Homewood Suites for just a millisecond, really spacious room that we had for a couple $100 a night. It was really great.
Yeah.
And a fantastic view. My take is that everything in downtown Greenville is way more cosmopolitan than I thought it was going to be. I had
Agreed.
no expectations one way or another coming in, but I agree that it was bigger but strangely enough, in a good way than I thought it was going to be. Sometimes when you stay downtown, you mentioned either you're on the outskirts or whatever, but also sometimes you stay downtown and it's like, bam, big fat convention center in your face, and you have to walk 3 miles around it to get to where all the restaurants are and stuff. Main Street, Greenville is designed in such a way where it's like, no matter where you're at along that route, it's fantastic.
There's a skyline. And you would not expect there to be a skyline for a city this size, because downtown Greenville, I think it only has, let me look at my numbers because I actually did write it down. Downtown Greenville only has 12,700 residents. I wanted to get that correct. So for a city that small to have a skyline is pretty exceptional. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. We pulled up and we were like, what?
Yeah, the whole area is only about 72,000 people.
Yeah,
in Greenville, I don't know if it's Greenville County, but
no,
in
Greenville
the city
County
limits
is
of Greenville.
Greenville County is like 600,000 people.
Yeah.
But Greenville City is I have that the downtown area is 12,700, and then Greenville City is I think 72,000, and then Greenville County completely the whole county is like 600,000. But
so it's a nice medium-sized city, really.
it really is.
Yeah.
Well, I think the charm of this city is the fact that, I'd mentioned earlier, they didn't really change the architecture much. They kind of kept the southern charm of it. It's an old city. It was founded in 1770.
Oh.
So that's something that, I found interesting, because usually when a city is that old, Savannah seems to be the only city where they really kept everything. They do away with a lot of those old buildings,
Sure.
and they did not do that in Greenville. They are very keen on repurposing all their old buildings. Now, a lot of their buildings are old manufacturing buildings of textiles, specifically cotton. So we learned that while we were there. Now, just some facts about Greenville. In the early 1800s, Greenville had its own university, which is Furman, and we drove by. Furman is still there from the 1800s. It's a beautiful campus. They were very active in construction, so the city was bustling in the 1800s. And by 1874, they had their own newspaper, which to me is pretty amazing in 1874 to have your own newspaper when you think about back then, like what was available to people.
Well, traditionally, I think a lot of people attribute all of those happenings to like the New England states or what have you. So now we're in a southern state, and meanwhile there's still there's progress.
Yes, that's
happening
There was
all over the place.
Exactly. And then in the early 1900s, that's when they opened up their first cotton mill. So at one point,
Wait a minute.
Uh-oh.
What you talking about?
We're not going to linger on cotton too long. Don't worry.
We are not.
Don't worry, Phil.
We are not. It wasn't a cotton field. It wasn't a plantation. It was a cotton mill. And it was, at one point, they were the hub of textile manufacturing, specifically cotton, that they were labeled the textile center of the South. So from 1915 to actually 2004, Greenville, South Carolina, hosted a fair trade. I can't get it out. A trade fair.
It's getting you.
I know it is. It is really, this is sneaking up. The Southern Textile Exposition, which was really huge at the time. It was where everyone came from all over the country and the world to look at the textiles. And unfortunately, by the 70s and 80s, they lost their luster because all of the textile jobs were being moved overseas.
Right.
But, for many, many years, they were the hub of textile manufacturing in America.
Yeah, and their story follows along with all the steel mills, all the other manufacturing that happened in America around that time that was, increasingly being shipped overseas for cheaper labor.
The difference, though, with Greenville and some of those other cities is that some of those cities, the buildings are left vacant right now and just decaying, whereas Greenville is taking those cities that were used for manufacturing, and they're repurposing them for lofts, mixed workspace, offices, and they aren't really changing the facade. They're actually what do you do when you're like
They're rehabbing the interior,
Yeah, but
the exterior is just, being fortified and remains the same.
So it's like a resto mod on a car.
Exactly.
So like they keep the exterior original, but everything inside is like new and upgraded.
Oh, is that what it's called?
Yeah, they call it resto mod. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
that's what Phil did to his Gremlin. Do you know what a gremlin is?
No.
I do. Of course I know what the AMC
I know you're a
gremlin
car
is.
guy.
Come on.
It's fine. I'm just teasing you about your millennial self.
The Escort. It's the Escort. They all soup up the Escort.
Oh, the Escorts, yeah.
That's the new one.
The little whips.
Yeah.
But yeah, going along with what you're saying, though, in a way, okay, so the city did fall upon disrepair, or at least it started to decay because of industry fleeing. It was, though, there was a part of downtown where it wasn't like it had always retained its charm and all that other stuff. They put an actual 4-lane bridge in going through the center of downtown because they wanted all that commerce and they wanted all the traffic flow and everything going right through the downtown.
True.
But in around the late 90s, people started to recognize, specifically people from the Carolina Foothills Garden Club, the women started to recognize that, turns out there's a beautiful waterfall right under this crappy bridge
in the middle of the city
that everybody threw asphalt over, and you can't really enjoy the scenic beauty. Like, I mean, the whole reason the town was founded was because there was a mill right there that used the flowing water to generate power to do whatever they were doing there. And
it's a beautiful waterfall, literally in the middle of the city. It's gorgeous.
It is. It's gorgeous. So in the late 90s, Anna Kate Hipp, who helped raise funds for a $3 million park endowment, including a $500,000 gift from Liberty Corp, secured naming rights to the Liberty Bridge, and they still have the same mayor that was around back then. And this guy really took a gamble on the city. He committed himself to getting that ugly bridge destroyed.
The 4-lane bridge.
The 4-lane bridge, and just putting a single lane each way. His name is Knox White. And turns out Knox was right, because 27 years later, he's still the mayor. And it's a gorgeous downtown. Like, if you follow us on social media, I posted it on one of my accounts. I could not believe this city leads with its downtown, and at the heart of that beating heart of that downtown is that Falls Park and Liberty Bridge surrounding the Reedy Falls right in downtown. Yeah. Like right in the center of all the buildings.
It's kind of amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So props to both those people, especially Mayor.
You can't say anything bad about Knox White, because people like Knox White, they're like, what'd you just say? Yeah.
Yeah. So he committed in the late 90s to get this done. He convinced the city council to push it through. The bridge was demolished in 2002. The park was completed in 2004. And by 2006, he had the city commit $13 million to replacing this bridge. By 2006, in 6 years, the $13 million investment yielded $100 million in new businesses.
I believe it.
Wow.
Yeah. Restaurants, shops. Yeah. It's one of the most surprising downtowns I've ever seen. It's pretty cool. Can't recommend enough. Right down in that area. One of the first nights we were there, we went to the Grand Bohemian Hotel, and they have a restaurant there called, was it Between the Ferns? Trees. Oh no, that's Zach Galifianakis. Between the Trees. Between the Trees.
Yes, it's Between the Trees. And it's a really bougie restaurant that sits on the water. But we just had drinks and enjoyed the sights. The bar is beautiful. So that was a really great first night. We walked over the suspension bridge, had a cocktail in their beautiful restaurant, and just saw the landscape around us. It was so pretty.
I have a question about this restaurant, though.
Oh, yeah.
Do they have deviled eggs?
I don't know. Do they have deviled eggs? Many do. I don't know if that one did.
Trash. They're trash.
Agreed.
Automatic trash then, right? That's our barometer now, right? If they have-
Agreed. Yes.
But speaking of food,
Yeah.
do we want to go there already?
Well, I thought it had, I really was quite pleased with their food. Like they had everything from Southern to barbecue to Italian. I mean, Mediterranean even. Do you have an issue with their food?
I don't. My only issue is it's not even an issue. It's just a statistic. More than 110 restaurants in downtown alone.
Oh, yeah.
It's a foodie paradise.
100%. Like wherever you go, you see it. And it's not, I mean, they have sandwich shops, they have crepe places, they have, homemade ice cream everywhere. It is unbelievable. Yeah.
Several James Beard nominated chefs operating out of the Greenville area.
Only 12,700 residents in that downtown
I
and
know.
several James Beard nominated chefs.
What is that? What's the James Beard?
Oh, James Beard is an award that you receive for outstanding culinary skills. So it's kind of like I don't know if it's below the Michelin. I think it would be considered below. Like Michelin is like the five-star. Like if you're a Michelin restaurant, chances are you have menus without prices. And if you're a James Beard awarded chef, it's just really upper tier. Like you're going to have a fine dinner. The menus will still have prices on it.
When a restaurant has like a whole bunch of items, do you think that's bad, or do you think it's better that they have, like, let's say
Choices?
Just like Cheesecake Factory has a huge menu, right?
Yeah.
Or is it better to have like such a huge selection, or like maybe like 10 to 20 things that like hit really, really good?
I think it's the second. I think the latter.
I do too.
You're generally going to find a better restaurant because they focus on what they do well instead of just buying a trillion ingredients to make all these different menu items.
Agreed.
I think any chef worth their weight in salt will probably agree that, I have, especially when they're doing local sourcing or what have you, it's like, okay, turnips are in season. So today we're having turnip soup. I don't know. That's a horrible example because turnips suck.
They're disgusting. I don't know why you use turnips.
I don't know either.
Okay. But yes, I agree with you, and minus the turnips, that a smaller menu will cultivate, I think, better flavors.
Yeah. You know what we did find a lot of there, Phil? Why don't you tell him, babe? What kind of restaurant do we keep seeing over and over and over again?
Popeyes.
No.
Oh, I thought we were playing that game.
Maybe.
Oysters. Okay, so this is crazy.
Yeah.
We have traveled, been on the road for a year and a half, and in all of our experiences, when we are in a seaside town, there's a lot of seafood places.
Naturally.
Yeah. Okay. Greenville, North Carolina is the northwest part of South Carolina. It is 3 hours from
You just lost everybody there.
Did I say Greenville, North Carolina?
No, you said Greenville, South Carolina is the northwest part of South Carolina.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Did I
three
lose you?
directions in one sentence.
Okay, whatever. Greenville, forget South
The
Carolina.
rum chot is kicking in, Phil.
Greenville is the northwest part of South Carolina. So you're 3 hours from the coast. Oyster places everywhere. Everywhere you look. So I had to ask people. Like I asked a waitress who had been born and raised in South Carolina, what's up with oysters? She couldn't answer me. Then I asked our tour guide because most cities we visit, we get a tour guide. Mike didn't know the answer to that. So I had to research it myself.
And?
Well, I found that oysters have been around since the 1800s because, believe it or not, their coast...
Oysters have been around since prehistoric times.
No, but, okay. Oysters have been around in South Carolina since the 1800s. It was a way for people to make money. It was a source of income during the Depression for some workers.
Yeah.
And it's because their coast is really rich in minerals to cultivate the oysters. I mean, So
a lot of them are like cultivated in state.
Oh yeah. So here's what I found. If you really want to know,
I do want.
It was a booming business from the 1800s, the start of World War II. Cheap and plentiful, they were enjoyed across all classes. So it wasn't just for the rich. Harvesting and processing provided jobs even during the Depression. The state's riverbanks, salt marshes, and creeks are right with eastern oysters.
Wow. Okay.
Yes. The flat coastline, vast tidal areas, and natural oyster reefs combined with a lengthy spawn season, so they're having at it, make the perfect habitat for growing abundant clusters of meaty, briny oysters. So it is the place for oysters.
This just turned into a Discovery Channel show. I like it.
Well, it was
Nat
odd.
Geo.
Guys, come on.
No, seriously.
Y'all, that's a white people thing. I'm sorry.
You don't need oysters?
Well, I'm scared because I'm allergic to shellfish. So,
Oh, yeah.
okay.
So
I
like,
always forget that.
I
Not
don't
even
know.
shrimp? Not even shrimp?
No.
I'm just kidding, because everybody who says they can't have or eat seafood or shellfish of any sort, inevitably the person responds with not even shrimp.
not even shrimp.
Okay,
but-
so wait, do black people not eat oysters?
hell no. Why am I eating a sea booger?
Oh, I never thought of that. Oh my gosh.
How do you even eat? Because I've seen it raw, I've seen it steamed,
Yeah.
I've seen it fried. Like, I've held an oyster and I'm like, I have no desire to put this in my mouth.
Yeah, it's not like great. I would have to say I've never been a huge fan. I'll do it, and they do taste different from different parts of the ocean for sure. We had an oyster sampling. We were in Mexico. Remember, he was like, this is from this part. It's like the flavor around it tastes better because you do put horseradish on it, and you do put a little cocktail sauce. So
If you like, or mignonette.
What?
Mignonette.
What's
Like,
that?
it's like that vinegary type.
Oh.
I think it has scallions in it or something.
Oh,
like that.
really? Okay.
I mean, look.
Are you an oyster
I
aficionado?
I can tell that I'm in the minority here, but a 6 on the half show with a gin martini is a kick-ass afternoon. Okay.
All right, Phil, I'm with you. All right. Yeah, I just think they're okay, but they don't have much flavor, really, I don't think. So that's just me. I'm with Phil.
Okay.
I'm
Fair
not
enough.
a huge fan. I would not order it by myself.
Okay.
I order it when I'm with people who say they want to do oysters. I'm like, okay, sure.
But like, I've seen people take it like a shot.
Yeah, that's how you do it
Yeah,
because
you just slurp it right out of the shell. Legit. I personally drain the salt water off a little bit, but yeah, and then I like the horseradish.
It just tastes like trauma.
It tastes like wealthy.
No.
no.
I'll eat caviar 100 times versus an oyster.
I probably would too, truthfully.
I don't
but
think I've ever had caviar.
Yeah,
You
like-
guys are so bougie. I don't think I've ever had caviar.
You've had caviar.
I don't think so. Would I not know?
Well, I mean, sushi roe is caviar, essentially. Like if you've had roe on any of your sushi before.
I don't think I have. I do California rolls. I'm really basic.
Okay. Moving on. Back to Greenville.
But Phil, really quick, what they do also is they cut the booger out of the shell so that when you
Can
slide.
we not say booger?
Okay, well,
I eat them. I enjoy them.
fine. They cut the wealth out of the shell.
There you go.
And so it's easy for you to slide. Otherwise, they're stuck to the shell. So you can't just slide it. Yeah. What do you call it? Shoot it. You can't just shoot it. Yeah.
No, you can't. It just slides off.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, so oysters are a big deal because they were a big deal. And it's so weird that a tourist found this information.
yeah, we did have a tough time getting answers for that. So you
Well,
brought
because
up.
also when you're inland and you're not near water and you see oyster houses everywhere, it's like, why? Like, where's this coming from?
It does. I mean, like
It's kinda like you don't eat
You saw the
sushi,
first
you
one,
don't eat
okay. You saw the
sushi.
second one, but by the fifth one, yeah, I agree with you. It was kind of like, whoa, what's the deal with the oysters around here?
Right.
But now you have an answer. I'm glad you researched that because we really couldn't get that in town. Like nobody,
It's like, when you're in Kansas, you're not going to, sushi is not your number one thing. There's no water around. Where are they getting the sushi?
Right.
So anyway, I found it.
Yuck.
Great job, honey.
Cheers to me.
Drink.
I will. If we do this as a segment on the show, I will try one.
Okay.
But it's got to have hot sauce on it.
We're gonna
probably,
do.
so.
We will do an episode called "White People Food," and we're gonna have you try everything, Phil.
I'm
a great
down.
idea.
That's a great idea.
That is a great idea.
Yeah.
We'll switch chairs. I'll switch cameras. You can sit over here, and Denise will just hand you, what do they call? Oh, dinner parties. Do black folks have dinner parties?
No.
It's just called dinner, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. White folks have dinner parties.
Yeah, we'll have to do some I don't know. What's a white food dinner party? Oh, stuffed mushrooms. That's very white
Do you
people.
do stuffed mushrooms?
I love stuffed mushrooms.
Oh, okay.
Ah.
I got that one wrong. Okay, what's another white person appetizer?
I mean, hors d'oeuvres are a
brie.
white people
Do you
thing.
do brie with fig jam and okay?
That-
There we
that's
go.
a- that's a
Anything
white people
French.
thing.
We
Just
do
cheese.
French.
Just cheese in general is just weird. Cheese and crackers is just weird.
You're not feeling the cheese?
No.
So
Oh my
charcuterie
gosh.
boards are not black people thing.
Nope.
Oh,
Nope.
I'll just bring a charcuterie board and oysters. There we go.
But we introduced you to prosciutto. You will definitely find that on a charcuterie
Now,
board.
I have fallen in love with prosciutto. I've sent Denise several pictures of me just eating it. So
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to turn him on to brie with crusty French bread and a little fig jam. He's going to be sold.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to do a white people dinner party for Phil.
We're gonna force you to attend a white people dinner party. And we're gonna record it all.
are there like, is there
We're
like
gonna have a camera, like we're gonna put a GoPro like right at the brim of your hat, so we can see your actual like eyes.
That's a great idea.
As you're eating.
Is there like when you guys have like these white people dinner parties, is there like certain attire you have to wear to that? Or
Yeah.
just
What? You have to dress
like,
nice.
like casual.
Yeah, you're not like wearing overalls.
Well, who wears overalls? Like, did you just walk in off the back 40?
No, but like I wear black pants, a nice blouse, even if I'm cooking or going to
wears
someone's
overalls?
house. You say no. Have you like a dinner party? You always put a nice shirt on. So stop it. If you're going to, so why would you say no?
Well, it's casual, but it's nothing special. You don't have to wear a sport coat. That's what he's getting at.
Don't wear a
You don't have to wear
sweatsuit
a
though.
suit or-
Don't wear a sweatsuit.
If it's velour, you might be able to show up.
No,
in
you
a
do
sweatshirt.
not.
I mean, if
as
it's
long as you have
if
the
it's
medallion
Gucci
on your chest.
I mean, if
Okay, if it's Gucci, that's different.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. See? Okay. So anyway, but you
We're gonna, you know what? Let's do a white people party here at the studio. We'll do a white people dinner party.
dress up like your favorite white person.
I love it.
I'm gonna get you a blonde wig.
You can do white face. We don't care.
Okay.
You can totally do white face.
In fact, we encourage it.
I'm gonna get him a blonde wig, maybe with pigtails. Oh my gosh! All right, this is gonna be fun.
Okay.
All right. So anyway, moving on.
Yeah, I've been trying to move
Okay,
on.
sorry. We got wrapped up in food and then
We
the
did.
white people dinner
No, it's
party.
good stuff. It's all good. It's all good. But you mentioned him, and he needs a proper shout out.
Yeah.
We did a tour with a gentleman named Pastor Mike. We are leaving his contact info in the show liner notes below. You see the graphic on the screen right now as I'm speaking. Pastor Mike moved down to Greenville from Philly some 30 years ago,
Yeah.
has built a life for himself, his friends, his family, very active in his church, to the point where his wife told him after some minor complications and health problems, hey, maybe you should back off a little. So now he's a part-time Pastor Mike, which allows him time to do tours with people like us. The best part about this tour was there were some there were many historical facts.
There were, but his tour was specific, and that being, what was it?
He showed us different neighborhoods for people who are actually seeking to relocate to the Greenville area, which is the most unique tour we have taken in the year and a half, 2 years that we've been doing this.
It's the only tour we've ever taken that was legitimately called a relocation tour.
Yeah.
So he did touch upon some history facts, but we really
A lot.
Yes, but we dug deep into neighborhoods, and he
We did.
drove us to outlying neighborhoods. So it was different because every tour that we've ever taken with somebody was just based on that city that we were in, not the outlying neighborhoods, not real estate. So it was different. We were in his car. It was 3 hours, and it was a different kind of tour.
3-hour tour.
And we weren't on a boat.
We were not on a boat. We were not on the SS Minnow with Pastor Mike, for sure. First off, I just want to divert for a second.
Yeah.
We met him at Sully Steamers. Do you remember that?
I do.
The bagel place?
Yes. Are you going to?
So Phil, yeah.
No,
so
we don't
Phil,
need to go there.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
So
Let's go.
the name is Sully Steamers. It's a specific way to make bagels, Phil, right?
Okay.
And guess how they make the bagels?
I'm assuming they steam them.
They do. But homegirl here decides she's going to ask the cashier, can I get that toasted?
Uh-huh.
And if there's nary a toaster in the place, right? Is there a toaster in the place? Did you see a toaster back there?
No, there's no toaster.
It wasn't called Sully's Toasters. It was called Sully's Steamers.
All right, to be clear, I thought the way the bagels were made, because most bagels are boiled in water, so I thought the way they actually make the bagel was that they steam it, not that they boil it. So I assumed that once the bagels were done and on the shelf
You get a
and
little
ready for
toast action.
consumption, I could have them steamed with my little cream cheese on it. No, he looked at me like I had bats flying out of my head. He goes, ma'am, we steam them here. And I said,
He was very polite about it because he's Southern. But you know what he wanted to
oh,
say.
you stupid northerner.
Yep.
Uh-huh. And I go,
It was a bless your heart moment.
Yeah, I was like, if he said "bless your heart," then that's him cursing you
It was
out.
definitely
in
a bless
Southern.
your heart moment.
It was short of bless your heart. He bit his tongue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to explain myself, as in I thought that they were made with steam, not boiled. I wanted to go in the whole story, and I just didn't. I said, okay, give me a steamed one.
So it is an interesting, I guess it's a chain. They actually do franchises. I looked up the company.
Yeah, but he's just local to Greenville.
He is just local to Greenville. However, if you want a franchise opportunity and you have $500K of net worth and $100K in liquid assets, you can own your own Sully
$600,000.
steamers.
$600,000.
I think that's pretty typical. I think that's pretty typical for a franchise.
No wonder bagels are like $10.
Probably.
It doesn't include the rent.
The business model is owner-operator, which means you are steaming those bagels, honey, for 2 years.
Okay.
Expect to steam those bagels for 2 years.
What did you think of the bagels?
The first one, so I showed up a little late, naturally, and you handed me half of a blueberry steamer.
And we laughed because steamers really...
Yeah, Phil, I don't know if it's a West Coast thing or what, but whenever you say something's a steamer, that generally means, like, if the movie's a steamer, that means the movie sucked.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So you know that term.
Good.
Steaming pile of,
Yeah,
Pile
exactly.
of crap, yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, so when it was Sully Steamers, we had the biggest laugh
yeah,
out of it. We thought
giggles.
we were so funny. We're like, steamers.
I know. But anyway,
your blueberry steamer.
the blueberry steamer was fine. Whatever. But even better, Phil, they have a bagel sandwich called the McSteamy. It replicates a Big Mac. And I have to tell you, out of all the steamers I've ever witnessed, it was the best steamer I've ever had in my life. So it was pretty dang good.
They have the mac sauce on it?
They did it. They Thousand Island.
Island.
Roast beef, lettuce. I don't know how, whatever the Big Mac has.
Pickles.
And
Yeah.
sesame seed.
So 2 all beef patties, pickles.
But it wasn't
chicken,
patties. It was roast
It was
beef.
roast
Ah,
beef.
okay.
Yeah.
So, and then with the sesame seed bagel.
That bagels are a white people thing too. You know that, right?
Bagels are white. You've never gone to a brunch with bagels?
That's a white people thing.
No, when you go to, say, Publix or whatever, you don't pick up 6 bagels for the kid.
No, we'll get muffins, but like bagels that's like a bougie white people thing. Because they're $10 a piece.
Okay.
Right. So so next time when you go to Einstein or whoever's, just look at the people there. You're like, all right. Or look at the locations. Look where they're at.
They're not in black neighborhoods.
No.
Oh.
Interesting.
Okay. So we'll have to bring bagels for Phil's dinner party.
We will, for sure, along with his oysters.
And we're going to have to put salmon and cream cheese because that's very...
What?
You like
yeah.
salmon?
You put fish on a bagel?
Yeah.
That's the only way to eat
Gosh,
it.
lox. Yeah.
Yo, I swear, y'all like to live on the edge. Like, what is going on with that?
It's
Come
raw
on.
salmon. No, it's like smoked.
It's delicious.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So
Anyway,
that'll be a fun dinner party.
That will be.
Okay. So what did you think overall, though? Speaking of food and the bagels, and you liked all that. Okay. So what did you think of the food? I mean, I thought it was a foodie place.
Yeah, it did. We had like 1 or 2 misses there while we were there, but nothing like, it was still better than many towns that we've been in across the country. We talk a lot about, we've already talked a lot about food in this episode. We talk a lot about food wherever we are.
You just seem like
it's kind of a mecca.
You just seem like you can never get enough, though.
Never get enough what?
Of tasting different varieties of food.
Well,
we
need to talk about this.
Because
you're not a sharer.
No.
She's not. She's so stingy, Phil. Listen, I'm going to tell you the story. Everybody buckle up. This is the dark side of Denise. So we went to this one restaurant.
I've just kind of had it with you about this.
And she ordered the beef tips or something. Beef tips, right?
With rice.
It was a Southern restaurant. Beef tips with rice. And, we've had this thing throughout our relationship, like since the first date where I'm like, do you want to try some of mine? And then she won't ask me if I want to try some of hers.
What do I always say to you when you ask me? We've been
I ordered what I ordered, and this is what I want. This
25 years we've been together. What do I always say to you when you say to me, do you want some? What do I say? What's my answer? Categorically.
If I wanted it, I would have ordered it.
No, that's not my answer.
That's your answer when I ask you if you want some?
I say no. I literally just
No, you
say,
get all snooty. When have I ever had any of your food?
No, I say, no, I don't want it. I always say no. And
then silence.
then I go to eating.
Yeah, you go to eating.
And you are waiting. for me.
So we went to the Southern restaurant and I was like, do you want some of this? And I think that restaurant, you actually took some of my food, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's always been a sharing thing.
No, it's never been a sharing thing.
No, it's an issue. That's what I'm saying. It's an issue. It's a sharing issue.
Yeah, we don't have.
It's not an issue for you. Well, it is an issue for you.
I don't share.
I know. And so instead of offering me one of her beef tips, she legit threw out 4 pieces of beef tips.
Oh.
Here we go.
It's Ellie. Is it birthday or money? Which one?
It's birthday.
Let me just tell her. Hi. We're recording. Say hi.
What's up? Welcome to the Skiptown All-Stars podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, Ellie Gordon in the studio today.
Okay, can we talk later?
I just wanted to wish you a happy birthday.
Thank you. Phil made me my own drink.
Okay.
In a red cup.
It's really yummy. All right, I love you.
Okay, I love you too. I'll call you later. I just woke up.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Want to know why she just woke up?
Yeah, it's 12:30. It's pretty
Because
standard.
she's living off my money. That's why she just woke up.
It is true. Yeah. So back to you always eating my food off my plate, which is so annoying.
I don't eat it off your plate. I never take it without asking.
You guys haven't heard about the spouse tax?
The spouse text?
Tax.
No,
Tax?
what is
No,
that?
what's that?
All right. I mean, come on. You know what the dad tax is.
Oh, yeah.
What's
Yeah.
that?
Okay, so I'll explain what the dad tax is. If you're riding with your kids, you get them food, and you're driving, you got to stick your arm
Put your
behind,
arm
the,
behind the
seat.
seat.
Give me some.
Yeah.
That's the dad tax.
And you do this with
Why
your
is
hand.
it taxed?
Because
Because you bought them food, they have to give you a couple fries.
yeah, yeah,
You've seen me do that
I didn't
on
know
road
there's
trips.
a term for it.
Yeah, I'm
yeah.
like,
It's called the dad tax.
yeah. Or if they're eating snacks out of a Trader Joe's bag or whatever, I'll be like, yo, give me some of those peanut butter cups. And then, yeah.
Oh, that's hysterical.
There's an
There's a
actual
term
term
for
for
it.
it.
Okay.
Yeah, see, I didn't even have to finish it. He already knew what I
Yeah,
was talking
I was
about.
putting my arm behind my back as he was doing it. I know that. I know that maneuver.
But there's a spouse tax, which is essentially the same thing because I've noticed, and I'm sure a lot of guys out there notice too. You order something, your wife says she's not hungry, you got to get something anyway.
Yeah.
You know, or all Armageddon. But if you guys get something different, get her other option that she wanted. Because she's going to take some of yours anyway.
I'm different. I don't do that. He
She
does that
doesn't do
to
that.
me, Phil.
Yeah.
He does. I remember the very first date we went on, and he asked me if he could have something of mine. And I was like, no. Like, I mean, I was like, no.
Dang, she should have said no.
I know.
I was like, I mean, I think I maybe, and I just thought to myself, like, who is going to eat off my plate? Like, and then now he's created my daughter, Ellie, a monster because she does the same thing. So I just sent a text message to everyone on our trip during this trip and said, I'm sick of you guys eating off my plate. Don't ask me anymore. I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
And then I let the waitress take the plate with 4 beef tips. I guess I didn't even notice that I did that. He was so bent out of shape when
was
we
like,
left that restaurant.
You actually had it. You had a taste of my food. That
I
day.
did. Like they made homemade dumplings. So it's the
Oh yeah,
one
you just
time.
reached out.
Okay, but how many times have I done that in
Okay,
the course of 30 years?
Oh, don't get all defensive.
I just think
Don't get all defensive.
if you want it, order it. Don't take it off my plate.
I have a
I'm so
problem with
sick of it.
commitment. Okay, I have a problem with commitment. It's known in our relationship. I wanted kids. I didn't want to get married. We could have been the next Kevin Bacon. We could have been a low rent Kevin Bacon and Kira Sedgwick.
Are they not married?
I don't think they're married.
Oh,
Are they married?
I think they are.
Okay, scratch that. I could have been the fat Kurt Russell, and you could have been the brunette Goldie Hawn. Okay, and no, you ruined it because you wanted to be married, which is fine, and we did it, doing the dance right now. And it's well known that I have a problem with commitment, and so when I order at the restaurant, I am torn between 3 things. And I feel pressure when the waitress is standing right there and everybody
No.
at the table is waiting for me to, no, let me finish. Let me finish. And so I feel pressure. And the minute I say, okay, I'll have whatever, the beef bourguignon or whatever. The second that waitress walks away, I'm like, no, I should have picked the chicken parm, and I have all this internal dialogue going in my head. So the one thing that gives me a little bit of respite is the fact that Denise ordered the chicken parm. So maybe I'll get a bite of hers. But I know it's going to be a whole thing because she's not sherry.
I don't share. And he does this thing too, and probably
Because
like
you were raised as an only child.
maybe. I don't know. Does it have something to do with like manners. You don't just take other people's food, I feel.
I don't just take your food, to be clear.
Oh, I know, but you pressure me because you're asking me and then you're staring at it. And I'm like, oh my God.
Does he give you the puppy dog eyes? Like,
kind of a little bit. And so, but here's
I
what
just
he
wait
does.
until she's done now, and normally I take a bite, but she gave those tips away so fast. I was like, man, I couldn't even like snake
you
it.
know what
didn't
my
even-
wife does? So she's like, I asked her if she wants any, right? I get something. She's like, no, I don't want any. And then she's like, and then she'll come back and says, if you don't finish it, I'll just give what you have. And I'm just like, here, just take this.
Because really what she's saying is I want it.
Yeah.
So James had this horrible habit, and I mentioned it to him like probably 4 years into our relationship, and he stopped doing it for many, many years, and now he started it up again, where he does this thing where the waitress will hand him a menu, and Phil, when you were out with us next time we go out to eat, you will notice this. He will look at that menu, and then he will put the menu down, and you'll ask him, "Do you know what you're going to get?" And he'll say yes. And then the minute the waitress walks up, he panics, and you can see the panic, and he's looking for the menu. He's where is it? And he grabs it. He has to open it up while she's standing there. I used to think it was just attention getting, like where he has her full attention, and now he's going to peruse the menu, even though he had 10 minutes to do it and had it down on the table, suggesting that he already picked a meal. But no, when she comes back, now all of a sudden, we all have to wait for him to decide, is it the chicken parm or is it this? And it's like, don't do that anymore. And I told him that. Don't do that. It's just annoying. He stopped, and now he's back at it. He's back at hardcore too.
Now I've gotten to a point where I just ask the waitress, this or this? And then she'll tell me what the most popular item is. Or don't get this. It tastes like whatever. So that's a little better at least, right? This or this. And then I say, okay, what do you recommend? And then I take their recommendation.
And then you still ask me for food.
I wait until you're finished.
No.
And
then
I take a bite while you're like talking on the phone or doing something. So
okay.
Anyway,
no more of that. Those days are over.
You know what? You need to learn how to share. They should have taught you this in kindergarten in Chicago.
Sharing is
because
caring.
you grew up on the South Side.
We
you don't
stab
do
kids
it.
with pencils.
I know. You're just used to shanking anybody who comes for your food.
For that cookies and milk. No, back off.
Anyway, okay, let's get back to Pastor Mike. So Pastor Mike took us to 5 neighborhoods, 5 areas of Greenville. And I want to talk about the first one specifically designed for my millennial friends. My millennial friends
looking
right at you.
Looking right at Phil.
Okay.
West Greenville. I cannot tell, so that's one of the first places we went that we saw what one of these, so the condos looked a little expensive, but they had rehabbed one of these textile mills.
They did.
It looked spectacular. Kept all the original sort of exterior charm and everything as much as you can get from a factory, I guess. But now that you know people were living in there and enjoying their lives, they have lofts inside and all this other stuff. It was like, dang, that's pretty cool what they did with that. They didn't take a wrecking ball to this thing. It wasn't falling over. They actually made something out of it. And this is a recurring theme in Greenville that I think a lot of people are going to be surprised to hear. It's not a decaying town. They make good use, residential, commercial, you name it, of the space that's there. Right next to our hotel, they were redoing that one building.
Yeah.
And turning it into, it's going to be a brewery.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it was right by the railroad track too. So, you know, it was used for industrial purposes, but, and the facade was still the same. It had like drink Coca-Cola on it, which seemed like it was chipping the paint off. And it's going to be a beautiful brewery when they're done with it.
Absolutely. So in West Greenville, what you have are all these cottages that surrounded the textile mill where the workers used to work back when it was operational. A lot of 2+1s, a couple 3 bedrooms here and there, but those houses are all starting around the lower to mid 200,000s and going up to maybe 400,000. I found the neighborhood charming, safe. Everything we were driving through just told me like this is a perfect starter house for a young couple or maybe a young couple with a baby or what have you. Wherever you're living right now, if you're not feeling that, you absolutely should check out West Greenville.
It's not like West Greenville. It's not West Greenville. It's literally West Greenville downtown. It's just right outside the downtown, correct?
It's like 8 minutes away or something like that. So you still get all the access to all the restaurants and the Liberty Park. Liberty Bridge and Falls Park are all free and gorgeous and all that. You have all this access to trails. And a couple other things that we'll get into in a little bit. I can't say enough that should be an area you should be considering in terms of real estate if you are a first-time buyer.
Yeah, and Mike had explained too, just a couple years ago was when people started coming in to revitalize the area.
Yeah.
Some of the houses you get for like 175. It was crazy. They're
Wow.
small. Yeah, they're small. They're probably 1,300 square feet. They're not huge,
Yeah.
but they're right near everything. And like he said, it's great for a couple, maybe a couple with one child. The yards aren't big, but there is a yard. It is
It
you're
was
right.
quiet, it was peaceful.
We were both blown away because it's
yeah.
something we would have done.
Yeah, if you're single trying to make, you're like,
Yes.
okay, I'm going to make my first investment. I have my first junior accountant
Yes.
job or exec job or whatever. It could be a good first investment for you.
You said millennial, so I've got my first OnlyFans job. So
Exactly.
that's my house I'm buying.
Exactly. You're up to 100,000 followers. Go to West Greenville. You can find yourself a nice little cottage to shoot your videos.
There you go.
Okay, so the next place we went, are you good with West Greenville? Oh, Shoeless Joe Jackson was raised in that area. And Shoeless Joe Jackson, you can't really mention Greenville without mentioning Shoeless Joe Jackson. He was a famous baseball player back in the day. They called him shoeless because one game his shoes were too tight, and he decided he was just going to play the second doubleheader barefoot. And it was one game, and it stuck, and he's not crazy about it. Anyway, baseball lore. Anyway, he lived in that neighborhood.
He did. Yes.
Yeah. So next we went to Simpsonville. It's a cool little downtown. It's a little stretched out to me. It's an old train town. A lot of renovations and upgrades, but keeping the character of a little train town are happening there. To me personally, it felt like the railway separates the downtown a little bit. If you remember, it's sort of dissected like right in the middle. But it was a great vibe. The houses there ranged from 240 to 500K. I found one there for $448,000, 6 bedrooms, 3,600 square feet.
Whoa, that's huge.
Yeah,
That's a
not a big
mansion.
lot for you and I. It was only I think it was like a third of an acre or something like that. But just saying, if you want that big house near a little downtown area and then the ability to, in 10, 15, maybe 20 minutes at the most, to downtown Greenville, that's a great house.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, for 400,
That's insane.
I found prices in this entire region that I was not able to find in many other regions in the United States that we visited. So there is another area that we went through called Woodruff. For me, I was out. It's so many strip malls. Remember that one area?
Yeah.
It was like, I don't know, 2 or 3 miles of strip malls. They do have a parallel parkway that you can sort of divert yourself around the main intersections there and everything.
Yeah, I remember driving through there with Mike and thinking, oh, this is where everyone goes to Target,
Yeah.
Home Goods. Like, I wouldn't want to necessarily live over here. It's really congested and just strip mall haven. Like, there's not a lot of charm in that area.
No, not.
I'm sure, look, there are big houses there and whatnot, but yeah.
Yeah, but that main strip there is, I mean, that would be tough sledding on a Saturday afternoon when you're just trying to get from one side of town to the other.
Agreed.
And that brings up an interesting point, and that is all throughout this area, the one thing that you can expect are HOAs. There are so many subdivisions and developments there.
I know you would not think that because you think South Carolina, open space. No, everyone has to wrap their head around the fact that there aren't places with much open space anymore that you would want to live or that we would want to live. Those places you don't want to live in. It's just true. We've been to parts of Texas, parts of Ohio, parts of Kentucky that have tons of open space, but you just don't want to live there.
Right.
So a town like Greenville, open spaces are hard to come by.
They are. I mean, the place is booming almost everywhere you look.
Yeah.
You can get, a decent sized lot. We want more because we never had it. But all that to say, I think Woodruff is pretty much out for us.
Agreed.
So, the other thing is though, they are building a BMW battery plant there in that Woodruff area. Kind of fits that they're going to put a battery factory in there because in nearby Spartanburg, you have the BMW factory.
I know. And do you remember back when we talked to Cousin Judy about travel? She had said to us, she knew we were going to go to Greenville, you have to visit the BMW plant. It is a sight. Walking through the factory, seeing how the cars are made. It really is just, it's an educational tour, but at the same time, so impressive. So I was really excited about going to visit the BMW plant. I mean, remember I was talking about on the road, and then we get there and it was closed for tours because they had projects going on. I was so mad. I was going to call Cousin Doreen and see if I could pull one of those hey, can you help us out? But I don't want to put her on the spot. So I'm coming for you, BMW plant, next
That's
visit.
right. Oh, and that brings up an interesting point. Cousin Doreen actually works at the BMW plant. We haven't talked a lot about her in this particular episode, even though she lives outside of Greenville, because we saw so much of her in Asheville. And so we'll get to that in our next episode. But
I'm making Cousin Doreen do me a private tour.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
let's hope so. And I know it's going to be like the real deal.
For sure.
So anyway, moving on, the last city we went to was Traveler's Rest. You and I had kind of come through there a little bit. You were sleeping. You were open mouth in the car, catching
Stop.
flies.
I don't think so.
I
sleep pretty.
No, you don't. You don't. And so we had already gone through there. I found a house up in the hills there near Traveler's Rest. It's a weird name for a town.
Well, you know why.
Tell me.
Oh, I thought you knew.
I think it's pretty obvious, but I want to know what you're going to say.
When people travel through there, they would stop to rest. Like they would go isn't it from Georgia to North Carolina? It was like the place they would stop.
Yeah.
While we were in Greenville, more than one person said to us, oh, you should look at Traveler's Rest because it's where you can get a little bit more property and it's only 20 minutes outside of the downtown area.
Yeah.
But we went there and, I wasn't really impressed. Were you?
I mean, I thought the strip in the downtown and everything they're doing there is pretty fantastic, honestly.
It seemed like it was still up and coming.
It is still up and coming. In fact,
and there wasn't a lot of places that had acreage. Like for people referring us to that place, I was a bit surprised. I thought, oh, we're going to see houses with 4 or 5 acres.
No, there were still developments and stuff. Yeah.
There were developments, which, we can't get a lot of land in a development. And then it just still seemed like, it seemed like it was still too up and coming.
We did find that one house. Yeah, definitely. But
Okay.
We did find that one house at the top of the hill. Remember, I woke you up and said, okay, this is what $450,000 gets you here when we were touring by ourselves. However, the one thing I think that's important to mention about Traveler's Rest is it wasn't until a handful of years ago when they completed the Swamp Rabbit Trail going up there to that area that place started to take off, because you had a listener also tell us like, hey, Traveler's Rest, it's kind of like Hicktown out there, right? Not so. 26 miles of hiking and biking trails going from Greenville now to Traveler's Rest, credited with boosting sales of nearby businesses 85%.
Oh, yeah. I remember Pastor Mike telling us that when they extended this biking trail, the Swamp Rabbit Trail to Traveler's Rest, it made all the difference. And when you hear the story, you think to yourself, how does a biking trail bring that much revenue into a town? But when you're starting at downtown Greenville and you want to take a nice bike ride and you go with a group of people, or even, your wife or your best friend, whatever it's going to be, you're going to stop and you're going to get something to eat.
Absolutely. When you get to the end of the trail, you're going to be like, I need a couple beers and a sandwich, of course.
And you may pick up oh, this is a cute blouse or whatever. I could put it on my bike, or I can put it in my messenger bag, whatever the case may be. Yeah. So it was, I was shocked by it, but thinking about it, it does make sense.
Yeah. Traveler's Rest, incidentally, used to drain money from Greenville, and now it contributes, all because of the building, the construction of this trail. Yeah. The extension of this trail, I should say.
And plus all the restaurants and everything that have come around it. Because he did, Pastor Mike did explain, these buildings were in decay and people have come in now and repurposed them for barbecue places, the bagel place. There was one of those Bath and Body places, not Bath and Body Works, but I always say it wrong, apothecary.
Apothecary.
Yeah. So anyway.
Arboretum.
No,
Arbitorium.
Not that.
Okay. So moving on though, to the most important aspect of this particular episode, in my opinion, and that is, I feel like the last place that Pastor Mike took us, Greer, South Carolina, Greer, was the jackpot. I felt like it was the jackpot. Founded in 1876, population of Greer, 37,000 as of the 2020 census. Here come the phone calls.
Oh, it's Parker. Money or birthday?
Birthday and money. Money's for me.
Hi, Lovey.
Hi, happy birthday.
Thank you. We are live and we are recording the episode right now.
Okay, no worries. Let's just talk later.
I love you. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Okay, bye. It was birthday.
It was birthday. It's going to be birthday for you. Parker hits me for money. She doesn't really hit you for money.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers to me.
So
Cheers,
there-
Phil.
I'm empty.
He's empty. Okay, so back to Greer. Greer is also home to the Greenville Spartanburg International Airport, second busiest airport that we found in, not that we found, that exists in South Carolina, but we did not know that when we got to Greenville. Over 100 direct flights going out of Greenville.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing because we thought, oh, small airport, like there's going to be a connector everywhere. Like it's going to connect to Charleston, it's going to connect to Atlanta. No, there's direct flights to Orlando, to Denver,
Yep. And
to Chicago.
It was rather illuminating because it solved your airport problem
It
that you
did.
have in many cities.
Yeah, because where Greenville is situated, it's about 2 hours from Atlanta and 3 hours from Charleston. So I immediately thought I'm going to have to travel to Atlanta to fly out every time I want to get a flight somewhere. And I was so happy to find out that that was not the case because that's obviously one of our bullet points on can we live here? How far is the airport?
Yep.
And I want to stay within 60 minutes if possible.
60 minutes if possible. Okay, so Cousin Doreen did mention early on in our visit, before we even went with Pastor Mike to Greer, she said, I think what you're describing sounds like Greer. And what we found when we got there is somewhere between 60 and 100 small and locally owned businesses in a downtown center outside of downtown Greenville, so 20 minutes away. So you have your own local downtown. Then in 20 minutes, you can get to downtown Greenville. In 10, 15 minutes, you can get to the airport and you can get to Costco in 15 minutes and all that other crap in the Woodruff area. 20 parks, 3 recreation centers, miles of walking trails. Greer has been ranked among the best places to live in America
What?
by publications including Business Week and Money Magazine.
Oh, we better hurry because whenever they list it, we're out of the market.
The word is out.
Oh, for sure. Remember Fairhope, Alabama?
Yep.
On Forbes magazine, like top places to live. And then in 5 years, it was boom. We couldn't,
Yeah,
that
now
was
there's
it.
even a reality show there. So.
Yeah. You know what I found that I liked about Greer was that it was almost a duplication of downtown Greenville. The streets look the same. I mean, it's small. It's like 4 blocks maybe, but it duplicated the feel of downtown Greenville with the charm of it, the buildings, architecture, just the people walking around. Greenville definitely has a sophisticated feel to it with regards to the shops, the restaurants, the amenities it offers. And I felt that Greer had that same sophistication.
Agree. I thought it was the perfect stop in between the city and everything. I mean, it's in our budget. So that area is in houses are the same, 200 to 600,000, depending on what you want. You may still not be able to get the exact same property that you can get out, even going further out of town, but it's in a gray zone. I looked at Zillow. It checks a lot of boxes for us, surprisingly.
Okay, all right.
So anyway,
there was one thing really quick I want to mention in our travels with Pastor Bob. Who the hell is Pastor Bob?
I don't know who Pastor Bob
Who
is.
is oh my God, I'm gonna have another drink.
You should.
Take the rest of it.
Pastor Mike. In our travels with Pastor Mike, the one thing I noticed, and I wanted to talk to you about this because I did a little research. Oh, this is crazy. Okay, you're in a small area. Did you notice how many breweries there were on this tour?
Oh my gosh.
Not just in downtown Greenville, but on the tour at large. Like everywhere we went, it's like, that's a brewery, that's a brewery.
Yep.
And I said, even to Pastor Mike, how much beer can one town drink?
Yeah.
So I had to dive into, I just wanted to see how many breweries are actually in Greenville. So do a little fun facts here.
Do it.
Okay. So Phil, are you a beer drinker?
I do like beer. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I hit the mic there. Okay, so I have some questions for you guys and some fun facts. Okay. If you had to guess the city that has the most breweries, what would you think it would be?
Asheville.
Asheville, North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really good guess.
It's got 50 breweries.
Okay, stop. Did you do your own research? Because I spent time looking this up. So just shush. Phil.
I mean, I was preparing for the next episode, if I'm being
Phil,
honest.
what city do you think in the United States has the most breweries? He's saying Asheville, North Carolina.
Pittsburgh.
Oh my God.
That's a good
Did
guess.
you know? Like, what is happening here?
That's a good guess, Phil.
Oh, did no. See,
Milwaukee.
did you know I was coming for you? Okay. It's actually Chicago. But hold on. Your two,
Surprise.
your two answers are in this list somewhere. Okay. Chicago has, if you had to guess how many breweries in Chicago, what would you say? Like
111.
It's got to be. It's over 100.
Stop it right now. I'm not even doing this anymore.
Well, we're guys. We know what beer is.
He doesn't even drink beer. How does he know?
What is it?
Yeah.
103. You guys, 100. I thought honestly 50. 103. Okay. The average per city across the United States, what would you guess that number to be?
Oh my gosh.
7.
It's so exploded in the past, I mean, it's got to be over 5.
It's 8. He said 7.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh. Okay. This is crazy.
Well,
Okay.
you can't go to the grocery store without seeing an entire wall
Okay. Now,
of micro brews.
Yeah.
I really thought this was going to be surprising.
You just need to go to liquor store more
It's just,
often.
we're
I
just
don't
really smart. That's all you,
You
have
are.
to
We
Okay.
are.
So hold on. So the top 3 beer drinking cities. Now, you're going to guess it, but let me tell you what the parameters are. It has to do with the cost and access to the breweries for their beer, right? So, and it's the number of bars per 100,000 residents of that city.
We're in math now.
So
We're
the
way
top,
deep in math.
I know the top 3 beer drinking cities has to do with cost and where, like, the access to get beer. What would you say? The top 3.
You want to know what my thought process is behind that?
Okay,
It's
tell
got
me.
to be a northern place, right? It's got to be a northern place, and it's got to have poor people in it, and it's got to be cold.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me your top 3.
Oh man, I mean Pittsburgh.
One of them, Pittsburgh, was absolutely number 1.
Yeah.
That was number 1. Number 2, you will not get.
Go Steelers.
Number 2, you will not get. But go ahead, give me a guess on number 2.
somewhere in West Virginia.
You guys, it is west of the Mississippi.
Oh,
You will not
Oh.
guess. You will not guess this one. It's
Yeah.
one of it is
Oregon. Portland.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Portland's got a lot of breweries.
It's not-
I remember that when we rolled
Yeah,
through there.
but it's not Portland. It's Bend, Oregon.
Oh, Bend, Oregon.
Bend,
There are a couple
Oregon.
of bigger beer companies.
It averages
microbrews.
110 beers per brewery and costs $4 per pint.
Mm-hmm.
Beer drinkers can visit the home of, okay, I don't know what this is. Maybe you guys will know. Deschute of a black
from the
Butte Porter. What the heck is
the
that?
Deschutes River is right there. It
Okay.
runs through Bend.
Okay, so beer drinkers can visit the home of the Deschute, Black Butte, and Porter, or Jubileela.
You're speaking another language, right?
Jubeale. Is that a beer?
How do you spell it?
Jubeale. What is that?
Jubil Ale?
Yeah, but they have it all.
Jubilela? Did you?
I said
you made it all one
Jubileela,
word?
but it's
Jubilale. Is that Jubilee? Jubilale?
What is it? Is it a beer?
I have
Must
never
be
had
a
it.
beer.
No, I've never
okay,
tried it.
so that's number 2, Bend, Oregon, and
Milwaukee.
yes.
But you said that in a previous episode. That's
so
an easy one.
okay, so here's a little fun thing. No looking. Okay, so Milwaukee has 33 breweries. It's the 16th highest for the number of bars per 100,000 residents. Schlitz is what made Milwaukee famous, but what other well-known breweries dot the city? There are 3 major breweries in Milwaukee. Can you guys name the 3?
Schlitz, Pabst, and Budweiser's in St. Louis.
I have no idea.
Schlitz, Pabst. I got 2 of those.
No. In addition to Schlitz, there's 3 others in addition.
Oh, Old Milwaukee.
Yes, but that's not the major. It's 3 majors.
Old Milwaukee got me through college. It was pretty major.
Okay, that's not on my list. Okay, that's not on my list. Play along.
Keystone.
Keystone. No,
Keystone.
it's
I don't
not
know.
in Colorado. Isn't
I don't
Keystone?
know.
You did say poor people.
I don't know.
You
Okay.
did say poor people.
Natty Light.
Natty Light.
Okay,
Go ahead.
I'll just.
Bush.
No, it's Pabst,
Okay.
Miller,
Oh, Miller.
and Blatz.
And Blatt. Oh, Blatz.
Yeah. So downtown Greenville had 4 breweries, and with 12,000 residents, that's a lot. 4 breweries. The Greenville city as a whole has, I told you, 72,000. Greenville city. Greenville County has 547,000 residents. Guess how many breweries in Greenville County. If you just take the numbers there's 4 breweries in downtown Greenville with only 12,000 residents. How many would you guess? Because they like their beer there. For
This
500
rum
residents.
chata has made her especially mathematical today. There's a lot of numbers being
Just tell
thrown
me
out here.
how many breweries do you think Greenville County has?
And I crunched
12.
data, and she's smoking me right now.
12.
no.
12
Okay.
breweries in Greenville County?
No, that's too low.
28.
Too low.
28.
20.
Oh.
20 breweries for 500,000 people. Do you know how many people are getting drunk every day?
All of them.
Yeah,
Beer's
it's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
tasty.
So I had to look that up because everywhere we went, and he took us all over, not just downtown Greenville. There was he would say, "There's a brewery there," and I was like, "Whoa!" But yeah, they have quite a bit of beer flowing in that city.
I just said correct. You know, like when people say correct, it kind of assumes that like you could have been incorrect, right?
You just made
it has a
statement
backward.
incorrect.
I know. I didn't mean to say correct. I'm sorry, and especially on
I
your
knew I was
birthday.
right anyway, so it didn't matter. You could say whatever.
It's true, but don't you notice that when you're like telling somebody a story or a fact, and they're like, "That's correct," and you're like, "Yeah, I know it's correct because I just said it."
Affirmative.
Yeah,
You just blew right past it.
I did. I didn't even.
You're
hear
so
you.
used to discounting what I say.
to being right.
It's
right.
shocking you
I'm
do a podcast with me, considering how little of what I say actually resonates with you. Anyway,
Okay.
moving on. I was waiting for you. You got more?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about how walkable the city is. There is no subway. There's no rail of any sort to get people around, but there is a bus system, and they actually have a trolley, which you and I did not
see the trolley.
No, I looked it up, and their hours are really weird. They only run Thursday through Sunday. Thursday and Friday, it's like from 6 to 10, and on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays is more like 10 to 5, and Sundays is
Those are some really restricted hours.
I was like, where is this free trolley? I never saw it once.
But there are 20 shoe stores.
Yeah.
So get your butt walking down Main Street.
So it's very walkable, and you're going to find yourself doing a lot of that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And while we were walking, I'm seeing here in the show notes, you notice a lot of mountain man beards. Want to talk about that?
I don't understand
You want to
it.
tell me why it's a show note?
Well, because I think it's weird. I always used to call it the terrorist beard because all the white guys would have the terrorist beard, Osama
So you're
bin
talking
Laden
like
beard.
the ZZ Top type beard.
Yeah, but Osama bin Laden is the one who made it famous.
Okay.
And I'm like,
guess.
why are white guys wearing this beard? You are a man. You're white.
Mm-hmm.
Why do white men do it?
I do think, especially talking about microbrew culture, right? I think there's a lot of microbrew culture where the guys just grow the beard and it's rustic and it's kind of country or Western or whatever you want to call it. And I think
That's the style. That's just
yeah.
the style now.
There's a
That
lot of
and like
white
barbers,
millennial guys.
The barbers have that like weird and like all the forearm tattoos and the slick back
Yep.
hair. That's just the style. It's
Yeah.
Huh.
yeah.
Okay.
I think personally, I think if you don't think anybody can pull it off, I take it.
I do not think there's a single white person I've ever seen that could pull it off. You could put Tom Brady in a beard and he would look terrible to me.
Let me go to
Well,
chat.
he's got a little head.
Let me go to ChatGPT. I'm going to make this right now.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen it work on some people. There are certain musicians and stuff where I think it works. I don't know. It works a certain mindset.
I don't know. The mountain man beard was pretty prevalent all through our visit of Greenville, and I don't find him attractive, so I didn't understand it. That's why I put it in the show note. I was like, huh,
I'm going to start growing one.
do not. I beg of you. Do not start growing one.
We already talked about this before as well. I let my hair, my facial hair grow out for like 3 weeks when we were in Idaho one year.
You struggled.
It was really patchy. I was like, what the heck? I've been shaving since I was 8 years old.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the beard is a what do you call it? It is what do you call it when like it's like a like it has an attribute that like people have to like you have to like facial hair. I mean I don't no. Yeah. As you can see, you are clean shaven, and that is what I like. Yeah.
That was really coherent.
I know.
What you just said. I'm leaving it in. I'm leaving it in the show.
Yeah. So I hope that trend stops soon. I'm so tired of
Do
it.
you?
Oh yeah, it's been going on for a while. Like I
Oh
love
yeah, ever since like the Lumineers and all that stuff, right?
years. Like we'd be in LA in Silver Lake, Echo Park, and white guys with those beards, and I'd be like,
That
"There's
is
no."
kind of weird. Not so much the beard, but the beard with the suspenders and the pointy brown shoes in Los Angeles.
The high
Like, I
water
didn't get
jeans that are folded. Like,
Yep.
you can
Yeah.
see your
100%.
ankle.
I didn't get that movement in a city like LA. I didn't understand that, but whatever. Hey man, to each their own. It's a free country.
It's an awful look.
America.
It's an awful look.
America. Anyway, okay. Well, look. Well, there are a couple things, and we started doing this in a couple episodes ago. But Phil, you're going to be glad to know that you can live in Greenville.
Oh, that's
They allow
pleasant. I
black
was
people
going to
there,
ask
as it
you
turns
that
out.
because you're talking about a cotton man. I was like, "Psh, I'm out.
I do not blame you. 62% white, 27% black, 6% Hispanic, Latino as of 2021. However, I'm not sure that's exactly accurate because we not only saw a lot of taco shops, especially on the Swamp Rabbit Trail, we saw tamale shops.
Oh, I know.
And that's like hardcore.
I have
Like,
I have some news about you guys.
What's
What?
that?
The hipster white people got a hold of tamales and tacos now.
Are
No,
you
they
kidding?
didn't. There's no way they could.
Hipsters are doing
There's
tamales?
a whole Facebook group called White People.
That
Making
is cultural
Mexican Food.
appropriation.
Wait,
I'm
hold
going to
on.
give that up right away.
What is it called?
White people making Mexican food, and it's all the stuff you see at those restaurants. Like if you ask an actual Hispanic or Latin person to go to these places, they'd be like, "What the hell is this?" It's all hipster white people making that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
And they've now got their hands on tamales.
Hipsters.
Making
Is nothing
tamales.
sacred?
No.
Tamales should be sacred.
I agree. Yeah.
And only for Christmas Eve.
Yes. 100%.
And I've had a
Those
white
are a lot
person
of work.
tamale, and it was a hipster white person tamale. It was actually pretty dope.
I'm sure.
Not
They
gonna
put
lie.
some crazy like corn, blah blah blah, like not normal stuff on it, like on the topping.
I mean,
'cause
it's
that's-
like organic stuff where it's like we created this on our own. Some
Made
weird
by a
thing.
man with
Yeah.
forearm tattoos and a terrorist beard.
yeah. Okay, I don't know. I'll have to try it.
with
but
the girl
maybe-
with the girl name. His name is Leslie.
Oh. Okay, that
You know
sells
what's
it.
funny?
That
Speaking
sells
of
it.
black folks and white folks, like if you like what's his name? The comedian Tracy.
Tracy Morgan.
Yeah, the black guy. He's like, how is it that the black guys can get away with like having female names, but when you name a white guy that, it's kind of weird.
Oh, that's a good question. I've seen a black guy named Courtney.
You did?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he played in the NBA.
that's right.
I know. If there was a boy named Courtney, people would be like
Oh
Courtney.
my God, that kid would get his
Mm-hmm.
ass whipped on.
Remember Sue, a boy named Sue?
That's a Johnny Cash song.
Yeah, but there's actually a couple boys named Sue.
Really?
So,
I've never met a boy named Sue.
Do you think I made that up?
do you remember what I promised you guys a minute ago?
Yeah, let me see Tom Brady with a beard.
I think you're gonna like it, Denise.
Oh, let me see. So Phil, if
You do kind of like it.
no, I still do. He does it. He looks good. So Phil just generated a photo of Tom Brady with a beard. It's like
Thanks,
and I'm
AI.
I know. Thank you.
Thanks, artificial overlord.
I'm looking right now. So if you're on YouTube, you're seeing it as well. I think, right? Can we pull it up on YouTube for everyone to see?
Of course, yeah. It's
Yeah,
already
he
there.
looks statuesquely like very prominent, like from the 1800s, but still
He looks like a Confederate general, is what he looks
He's got the
Oh.
hipster suspenders with the
He
with
does.
the coat.
The suspenders.
I thought that was a backpack.
Perfect.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I thought he was carrying a
He's
back.
hiking in a three-piece suit.
It still looks good on him, but
Oh,
I still
see?
wouldn't.
Here
No,
we go.
I still wouldn't date him.
Tom Brady. Okay. He's going to be torn up
Oh,
over
I
that
know,
because you
babe.
know he's on the market now.
Oh yeah, I know. He's waiting around for me. Uh-huh.
He is. Okay, let's finish with
Yeah.
some Greenville stats real quick.
Okay.
And then do you have a top 5 and bottom 5? Because I made one.
Oh, I did not.
Perfect.
Okay.
I get to talk. The unemployment rate in Greenville County was approximately 2.7% as of November 22, pretty low.
That is.
Median income home price in Greenville was around $325K.
Okay.
All those 7-figure houses
Yeah.
skewing it north, but it was an increase of 15% over 2021.
Okay.
Average apartment rent within city limits was approximately $1,350 per month.
That's really reasonable.
Yeah. And in the 2022 midterm elections, about 60% of Greenville County voters voted Republican. So 60-40. So more of a reddish purple.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I did ask Pastor Mike about homelessness because we did notice there wasn't many people living on the streets, and we do notice that in our travels. It was cold while we visited, and we were told by some locals, well, they're not outside because it's so cold. But Pastor Mike actually clarified it better. He said that they take care of their homeless. He said that they have shelters for them.
Mm-hmm.
Salvation Army is one of them, and they have other companies that have shelters for the homeless, so they're taken care of. So Greenville takes care of their people.
And that speaks to this statistic. There are approximately 550 homeless individuals counted in Greenville during the 2022 point-in-time survey, meaning they are tracking that and they're actively trying to find solutions to that problem.
Sounds like Santa Fe, New Mexico.
Sounds a lot like Santa Fe, New Mexico.
So when you went to the breweries, do they all look like this?
No. No, Phil. They absolutely
That's prohibition
do not.
stuff right there.
Wow. He's got tattoos and everything. You gave Tom Brady. So right now what we're looking at, if you're listening to the show, is Tom Brady with suspenders, tattoos on his arms, and
the beard.
and the beard.
Strangely long arms.
His arms are a little long.
Look at his right arm.
Yeah, but
is way longer than his left
Nobody
arm.
looked like him. No.
Come on, AI. And, all this AI stuff, like creating documents, creating artwork and all this stuff, weren't they supposed to replace us so that we didn't have to work? Like,
right.
How come no AI is really like raking the leaves,
Pulling my weeds.
plumbing the toilets,
Cleaning
like
the
all
house.
those things. Like,
Making dinner. How about make dinner?
You know what's funny? I know we're getting off topic here, but I had this conversation with Lucia last night. We were watching a movie about some dystopian future with robots, right? They had like a physical robot, right, doing tasks. And I was like, that doesn't make sense. And she's like, what do you mean? I'm like, in the future, if technology advances, we won't have robots physically doing these tasks. Just the appliances will just be doing the task for us.
right.
Oh, that's true.
You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't have Susie Robot vacuuming. I already have a Roomba doing it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I would have a refrigerator that I would have the ingredients in it, and it would just make what I wanted to. It would integrate with my oven or whatever, and then just go boop, 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 and then do that. My car would drive itself.
Right.
So I don't need a robot physically sitting in the driver's seat.
Right.
You've already outwitted AI.
I won.
You won.
I'm not real, guys.
You won. Terminator 7. Phil takes revenge. Okay, good. You good on Greenville?
Well, you didn't finish your top.
Oh, no, I'm about to do my top 5. My question for you, though, is can you live there?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm having a hard time because I know we're heading to Connecticut.
Literally this week.
Yeah. It got a little cold in Greenville. Temperatures got down to 18 degrees, but everyone told us it was a cold snap. And I believed it. I didn't see any snow. Well, there was no snow to be seen because it didn't snow. I thought it was chilly, but I had to believe that it was just the last couple of weeks. It's beautiful. Yeah. So it's really going to give Connecticut a run for its money. Not even going to lie. It really is.
It is. It's
I know.
already entered the top 10.
I know
think.
people have sent us photos of snow on the ground in Connecticut, and I'm like, oh, gosh, okay.
Here we go.
Here we go.
We couldn't even handle Greenville.
We couldn't.
Yeah. So we'll see how it goes next month in Guilford. But okay, so my top 5 of Greenville. You ready?
I'm ready.
Revamping of old textile mills into condos, apartments, and mixed use is number 1. I think that's ingenious. Near my hometown of Youngstown, Ohio, still a lot of decay in a lot of different areas. Greenville has seemed to be very progressive in solving some of those issues. Number 2, Liberty Bridge, Falls Park, and Reedy Falls. That whole area is spectacular. One of the best downtowns I've ever seen. Diversity in age, gender, and race, all walks of life, lots of safe neighborhoods for all levels of income, which is important. Not just for the rich people, but for the the people who are making their way in life or not so well to do. Seemed, generally speaking, like a pretty safe town.
Yes.
I already did. I wanted to say Grand Bohemian Hotel. And between the trees, great restaurant, very picturesque, inside and out. The park is right there. It's pretty killer. And then lastly, and most importantly, the right kind of growth, it seems. They put a lot of thought into whatever they're doing, the whole downtown revitalization project, obviously a great example of that. And it's very welcoming to outsiders like us. The first 2 or 3 days we were there, I did not meet anybody who had actually grown up in Greenville. They had all come from somewhere else.
Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah.
So that's it. And I don't have a bottom 5. I have a bottom 3.
Okay.
The drippy sauce at Lewis Barbecue.
Oh, it's terrible.
Ooh,
I learned something.
the drippy sauce.
It was like vinegary. It was just like, it wasn't barbecue sauce. It was like barbecue juice.
Yeah, it's called Carolina barbecue, but it's just why. I don't understand. We had this whole discussion about why a restaurant or a region has to ruin tried and true and make it their own.
Well, the people in Carolina would say we did it first. So it wasn't, other places have spun off from them, according to the people in
It's
South
not barbecue
Carolina.
sauce.
It's at that particular place, it wasn't. There is a Carolina gold sauce. Even Trader Joe's sells it now. That's fantastic. It's thick. It's molasses. It's got a little more mustard in it and everything. The stuff that we found, and to me, it made no sense because that brisket was amazing. They cooked that brisket really well.
But no good barbecue
And there
sauce.
was no sauce to put on it. So one of the other bottom 3s for me, number 2 is it's an HOA haven. Everywhere you look, there's so many developments. Even when we were driving around with Pastor Mike, I began to gloss over at every development he pointed at. And last but not least, we just talked about it, 18 degrees. What the hell? So I could not believe.
Pretty cold.
But I don't think that's really Greenville's fault. It's a killer town. Like I said, if you're looking to invest or move or relocate or whatever, it's got a lot to offer. And it's definitely, I think, going to creep up on our list the more and more we think about it. So that's it. That's all I got.
All right. Empty nest, full tank.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.